So there you are, standing over the toilet, plunger in hand, working it like you are trying to start a lawnmower and the water is not moving. Maybe it is even creeping up toward the rim while you sweat. I've been a plumber for 35 years, and I am going to tell you something that stings a little. There is a very good chance you are doing this wrong. Not a little wrong. Wrong in a way that guarantees the clog never budges, no matter how hard you swing. The fix is not strength, and it is not some tool that costs a fortune. It is 5 things almost nobody gets told, and the last one is where you stop plunging and reach for the tool that actually clears it for good. Before I get to the 5 mistakes, you need to understand one thing about what a plunger even is, because once this clicks, every one of those mistakes explains itself. A plunger is not a hammer. It is a pump. That is the whole idea in one sentence. When you push that rubber cup down over the drain and pull it back up, you are moving water back and forth against the clog. And water has one property that changes everything. You can compress air. You cannot really compress water. Squeeze a sealed container of water and nothing gives. So when your plunger is sealed over the drain and the cup is full of water, every push drives a solid column of water straight down the pipe and into the clog, and every pull yanks it back the other way. Push, pull, like a piston. That back and forth is what breaks a soft clog loose and gets it moving. Think of the little plunger inside a syringe, the kind you push medicine through. The plunger has to seal against the barrel, or the medicine just leaks around the sides and nothing comes out. Same deal here. The rubber has to seal against the porcelain, and the cup has to be full of water, or you are just pushing air around and splashing. So the whole job comes down to 2 things. Get a real seal, and move water, not air. That is it. Every mistake I'm about to walk you through is just a different way people break one of those 2 rules without knowing it. And plenty of people lose the fight before they even take the first swing because of what is sitting in their hand. Mistake number 1, the wrong tool. This one is so common, it is almost the default. Go look at what people usually grab. It is the classic plunger, the one that looks like a red rubber cup on a wooden stick. Flat rim, shaped like a little dome. That is a sink plunger, sometimes called a cup plunger, and it is built for a flat surface like the bottom of a sink or a tub, where a flat rubber rim can press down and seal against a flat drain. Now look at your toilet. The drain at the bottom of the bowl is not flat. It is a curved hole that funnels down and back into the trap. A flat cup cannot seal against a curved opening. It physically cannot do it. So when you push that flat sink plunger into the bowl, the rubber just mashes against the porcelain, and water sneaks out around every edge. You are not driving a column of water at the clog. You are sloshing water and air around the bowl and wondering why nothing happens. I have watched homeowners go at it for 10 minutes, red in the face, with a tool that never had a chance. What you actually want is a flange plunger. A flange is just a soft rubber sleeve, an extra flap that folds down and out from inside the cup. You pull that inner sleeve out, and it seats down into the curved drain opening like a stopper into a bathtub. That is what gives you a real seal on a toilet. Same swing, completely different result, because now the water has nowhere to go but down the pipe. The good news is a flange plunger costs a few dollars at any hardware store, and it works on sinks and tubs too if you fold the sleeve back up inside. So if you keep one plunger for the whole house, make it the flange plunger, not the flat cup. Get the tool right, and you have already won half the battle before you even bend over the bowl. But the right tool with the wrong water level still gets you nowhere, and that brings me to number 2. Mistake number 2, not enough water in the bowl. This goes right back to what we said about water not compressing. A plunger works on water, not on air. So the rubber cup has to be sitting underwater when you plunge, fully covered. If the head of the plunger is up in the air and only the bottom edge is touching a little puddle, you are pumping air, and air just compresses and springs right back. Lots of noise, lots of splashing, zero pressure on the clog. I see this most when someone has already flushed a few times in a panic and the bowl has drained low. Or the opposite, when they are nervous about the water and try to plunge gently up at the top without getting the cup down into it. Either way, the physics do not care about your intentions. No water over the cup means no push on the clog. So before anything else, check the water level. You want enough water in the bowl to cover the head of the plunger completely. If it is too low, add water, and I mean pour it in from a bucket or a jug. Not by flushing again, because flushing a clogged toilet is how you end up mopping the floor. Pour water in until the plunger head will be submerged. And if the bowl is already full to the brim and you are worried about it spilling over, bail a cup or two out into a bucket first so you have room to work. Get the water level right, and now every push actually lands on the clog instead of on a pocket of air. Quick pause before the next mistake. If you want more of this, I put 50 of them into a book called 50 Easy Plumbing Fixes that will save you $10,000. Everyone is a step-by-step repair you can knock out on a Saturday with basic tools, plus how to spot when a contractor's padding the bill. The link is in the description. All right, back to it. Even with the right tool and the right water level, a lot of people still lose this fight, and it happens in the first 2 seconds. Mistake number 3. The violent first plunge. This is the one that gets you covered in dirty water. You finally get the plunger seated, and your instinct is to rear back and slam it down as hard as you can on the very first push. Do not do that. Here is why. When you seat that flange down into the drain, there is a pocket of air trapped up inside the rubber cup. Air, not water. So if your first move is a hard, violent shove, all you do is blow that trapped air straight back out. And it does not come out quietly. It pushes back up through the water and sprays whatever is in that bowl right back at you. That is the splash. That is the mess. It is not the clog fighting back. It is just trapped air escaping the wrong way because you rushed. So the first push is slow and gentle. Ease the plunger down that first time, just enough to press the trapped air out from under the flange and let the cup settle and fill with water. Once the air's gone and you have a solid sealed cup of water, then you go to work. Now your hard, fast strokes are pumping water instead of air, and they hit the clog with real force instead of spitting back at your shirt. Think of it like priming a pump. You clear the air out first with a gentle stroke, then you push hard, slow to seat, strong to clear. Get that order right and you stay clean and you actually move the clog. Mistake number 4. Treating it as all push and no pull. A lot of folks shove the plunger down over and over and figure the downstroke is where everything happens. That is only half the story. Remember, this is a pump. The pull matters as much as the push, and on a lot of clogs, the pull is what actually frees it. When you push down, you drive water against the clog to loosen it. When you pull up, you create suction that pulls water back toward you, and that suction drags the clog back out of the pipe it is wedged into. Push loosens it, pull dislodges it. You need both. So do not just bang downward. Pull up with the same energy you push down with, and rock that column of water back and forth against the blockage. And here is the mistake inside the mistake. Do not break the seal between strokes. Plenty of people push down, lift the plunger all the way up off the drain, reset it, and push again. Every time you lift off, you lose the seal and you lose your water. and you are basically starting over. Keep the flange planted in the drain and pump it in place, up and down, without pulling the cup off the porcelain. That way you never lose your column of water. One more thing people get wrong. They quit too fast. A couple of half-hearted pushes and they give up. You want to plunge steadily with a real rhythm for a solid 15 to 20 seconds before you stop to check. That sustained back and forth is what wears the clog down and gets it moving. Plant the seal, pump both ways, and give it an honest 15 to 20 seconds before you decide it is not working. Mistake number 5, and this is the one I told you to stick around for. Knowing when to stop plunging and switch tools. Because sometimes the plunger is just not going to do it, and swinging harder for 20 more minutes will not change that. If you have the right flange plunger, the water level is right, you ease the air out, you are pumping both ways with a good seal, and after a few honest rounds of 15 to 20 seconds the water still is not draining, the plunger has told you what it can. It is time for the next tool. That tool is a closet auger. Do not let the name throw you. In the trade, a toilet is called a water closet, so a closet auger is just a toilet auger. It is a long metal cable inside a rigid tube with a crank handle on top and a bend at the bottom shaped to slide into the toilet without scratching the porcelain. You feed the cable down into the drain and you crank the handle. The cable snakes through the curve of the trap, reaches the clog, and either breaks it up or hooks it so you can pull it back out. This is the tool that clears what a plunger cannot, like a wad of flushable wipes or too much paper packed into the trap. And the price will surprise you. A closet auger runs about $15 to $25 at any hardware store. That is it. For the price of a couple of sandwiches, you own the exact tool that clears the clogs a plunger cannot touch. So if the plunger has given you everything it has, and the water is still sitting there, you do not plunge harder. You reach for the auger. That is the real next step, and plenty of homeowners never even knew it existed. Now let us talk money, because this is where it really lands. Everything I just walked you through costs almost nothing. The right technique is free. A flange plunger is a few dollars. A closet auger is $15 to $25. That is your whole investment, and both of those tools last for years and clear the toilet every time you need them. Compare that to picking up the phone. A plumber coming out to clear a simple clogged toilet commonly runs somewhere in the range of $150 to $300, and that is for a job you could very often handle yourself in 10 minutes with a $20 tool. I am not saying a plumber is never worth it. I am one, and there are real times to call. But paying $200 to have someone plunge your toilet or run an auger you could have run yourself is the kind of bill that stings once you find out how simple it was. Learn the technique once. Keep the 2 cheap tools in the closet, and you stop paying for the easy stuff for good. Before you go run off and start plunging, there are 2 things nobody mentions that you really need to hear, because one of them can actually hurt you. The first is about chemical drain cleaners, and I want you to take this seriously. If you have already poured a liquid drain cleaner into that toilet, one of those caustic ones that promises to eat through anything, do not plunge it. I mean it. Those cleaners work because they are full of lye or acid, strong enough to burn skin. When that stuff is sitting in the bowl and you start plunging, you force it to splash. And now you have a caustic chemical splashing up toward your face, your eyes, and your bare hands. That is a real chemical burn waiting to happen. Forcing that to splash is how a clogged toilet turns into a trip to the emergency room. If a chemical cleaner is already in there and it did not work, let it sit, protect your hands, and either bail the water out carefully or let a plumber take it from there. Never mix hard plunging with a bowl full of drain cleaner. The second one is simpler, but people still get it wrong. Match the plunger to the fixture. We covered this with the toilet, but it runs the other way too. That flange sleeve that seals so well in a toilet does not belong flapping around in a flat sink. Fold the sleeve back up inside the cup when you move to a sink or a tub so you get a flat seal on a flat drain. Right rubber shape for the right drain shape. That is the whole rule, and it is the difference between a real seal and 10 more minutes of splashing. So here is the simple way to think about the whole thing, start to finish, so you always know what to reach for. If the toilet is draining slow or backing up from the usual stuff, too much paper, waste, a soft clog, that is your bread and butter. Grab the flange plunger, get the water level right, ease the air out gently, and pump both ways for 15 to 20 seconds. 9 times out of 10, that clears it. If the plunger gets a real effort and the water still will not go down, step up to the closet auger and crank through it. That handles the tougher soft clogs and the wads of wipes packed into the trap. Now, if you know or you suspect something hard fell in, a small toy, a toothbrush, a bottle cap, something solid lodged in the trap, that is a different animal. A plunger and an auger may not move a hard object, and forcing it can wedge it in tighter. That is the point where the fix is often pulling the toilet up off the floor to reach it from underneath. And that is a fair job to hand to a plumber if you are not comfortable pulling a toilet yourself. Know which problem you have, and you always know the right next move. All right, one bonus tip to send you off with, and it is a good one for a soft clog. Before you even pick up the plunger, try this. Squeeze a healthy amount of regular dish soap into the bowl, the same stuff you wash dishes with, then add a few cups of hot water from the tap. Let it sit for 10 or 15 minutes. The soap works its way down and coats the clog like a lubricant, while the warm water helps soften things up. A lot of times a soft clog will just slide free on its own after that, and you never touch the plunger. One hard rule with that trick, though. Use hot water from the tap, not boiling water. Do not pour a boiling pot into your toilet. That bowl is porcelain, and a big shot of boiling water can crack it. And now you have traded a clogged toilet for a cracked toilet and a much bigger bill. Hot from the tap is plenty. Soap, hot tap water, a little patience, and let it do the work before you do. That toilet fix is one small piece of that book. 50 easy plumbing fixes that will save you $10,000. Over the life of a home, those repairs add up to real money you keep instead of handing it to a contractor. Grab it from the link in the description. And for more straight talk that keeps money in your pocket, subscribe to the Mark Silverbridge channel.